Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am back with the Living Your Dream 2026 group A, because we have one in A because everyone is equally awesome here. And so I am back with Chana, Carrie, Leslie, Nicole, Kate, and Luisa, and we're going to dive more into how these women have grown a lot over the past 60 to 90 days. So Chana, first, I want to know what's your biggest aha in the last 60 to 90 days.
I would say my biggest aha is definitely no longer coming from a place of trying to fix something. Every time I heard you talking about just being someone, in the beginning, before this, it always felt kind of foreign to me.
Yeah.
And again, had this feeling like in order to be that person, I had to fix something about my current reality, whether that was work, myself, anything. It's like, yeah, I was in the doing, buy a book, journal about it, find a counselor, XYZ, and, anything, all of the above. And, my biggest growth was when just hearing people, and you especially coaching, just be that person in that moment, make the decision that person would make. So a simple example is, eating healthier, making more healthier, balanced choices, and knowing that before it was like kind of this negative feeling, or that I was making the wrong decision. But then in those moments was like, no, I am a healthy person. I want to eat this, or I want to exercise because I love it. It's what I want to do. And I'm stepped into that. And so I know I have a lot of growing to do, but that was just a huge shift for me.
That's awesome. I love it. And I get it. It takes a little while of hearing like, be the person. And I still see it, people who've been here for 2 or 3 years. It's like, oh yeah, I missed it. I went back to fixing it, and I just need to be the person. So that's awesome. Yay. Carrie, what's your biggest aha or growth over the last 60 to 90 days?
I think the biggest thing for me is not feeling the need to be perfect and keep up with everybody else. I'm just accepting that I'm going through this at my own pace, because this is my growth. It's my story. I don't have to, do it the same way that everyone else is doing it, and just to show up for myself, and things are going to improve and just be the way I want them to be, or the way they're meant to be.
Yes. And what kind of space has that opened up for you in your life? How does it feel different?
Tons. I'm so much more relaxed and just joyful so much more often, which is like my natural state of being, to be joyful. So I really appreciate that. I don't feel like I always have to be doing something. Like I could just sit and just exist in the moment, and I'm good with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. That's awesome. Leslie, how about you? What's the biggest way you've grown over the past 60 to 90 days?
Just looking to see what I plan to say for this one. Okay, here. Okay, yeah. I learned some really upsetting news in March, and when it happened, I just handled it so well, and then basically, even though I was upset, I was like, but everything's okay. Mm-hmm. Like, the thing happened in the past. It's now, and everything's okay now, and I'm okay, and I don't have to freak out.
Yeah.
And that was just a really big moment for me.
Yeah.
And especially like going through that moment and knowing in the moment, like, oh, look how I handled that.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I know when you wrote about it earlier, I mean, you handled it so good that until this moment, I didn't remember that you had shared it. I read it in sort of what you wrote before this interview. And I had the thought like, oh, I didn't even know that happened. And as you just shared it, I'm like, oh, I did know, but you're right. Like you were so grounded and really going through it without coming. And I think one of the biggest things to point out here is that, and you said this in your form, is, I didn't get so angry about the situation, which I think has left you a lot of space to shift and grow the situation in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yay. Nicole, what's the biggest way you've grown or changed in the last 60 to 90 days?
I think actually it's something that you said on one of my assignments, which was that I didn't even realize that I was inadvertently doubting my ability to manifest by trying to practice believing I can manifest. Like it didn't even click until you said it. And I was like, that's absolutely true. I was like, that was like a super aha for me, was that I was like hurting my own progression because instead of just knowing that I can do it, I was practicing knowing that I can do it. It's like, you don't have to practice knowing something, you just know it.
Yes. And you've proven it, I think is the other thing too, right?
And I've proven it. Yeah.
That
I can do it. And it's retraining my brain. That's been my aha, is that it's like you always say, it's like, this is a practice and you have to keep retraining your brain to step away from that old story or that old chatter in your mind and step into what you want,
Yes.
Yeah. So that's been a huge aha. And then today, what you said, and I quote, when you think you have to let go, change the thought to go live.
Yes. Tell us more about that.
Yes. Polly on our call today was talking about, she's also an actor, and talking about, I always feel the same way, that after you've finished the audition process, you always feel like, okay, I need to let go of that and try to manifest it. And you were telling her, you don't need to let go, just go live. You already have it.
Yes.
You're not waiting for it anymore. It already happened, so go live like it already happened. And that was such a big, I was like, okay, yeah. Yeah. I have to put that in big, I'm going to print that out and put it on my wall. You don't have to let go, just go live.
Go live. Yes. I love that because it's so true. And we get caught up in those things. Like, I think let go is one of those things that we hear a lot in like manifesting circles or teaching, let go, let go. And so we get caught up in like, oh, how do I let go? Or focusing on the letting go. And it really is that shift of go live. And I think I love that you shared this aha, because for listeners, sometimes it just becomes so habit. A lot of you do this in this place. Like you're so used to practicing, like before you got here, to believe that you can manifest, that just like comes back around. Oh, I have to practice believing. It's like, no, you can believe because you've been manifesting for the last 3 months. Yeah. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Kate, how about you? What's the biggest way you've grown in the last 60 to 90 days?
It's still evolving, but it's come from our homework as well with regards to looking at other people's paper.
Yes.
And it was, I think the aha from that has been how much I have done that in my world based on other people's judgments.
Mm-hmm.
And it stilted me and, really, really kept me stuck. And just being aware of that more than anything at the moment. And something happened with one of our trucks and a booking for it that it slipped through. And I just said it happened. And my husband was so comfortable and he let it and we worked around it. And it was just like, oh, that went so differently than before because I wasn't holding on to that and trying to hide it as well. And I think that's the other thing. We say we don't look at other people's papers, but we actually do. Because we're still, it's like, no, I didn't do that. I didn't, I promise.
Right?
Yeah. So just evolving through that at the moment, and it was like, oh, how else have I kept myself stuck by worrying what other people are going to think about what I put out there? So that, of course, affects my business, my friendships, everything, and the kids. What they're learning from me is just being true to myself is one of the biggest ahas from that.
That's awesome. I love that, and I love now your kids get to see you being more true to yourself.
Yeah, they're very in tune, so it's really powerful.
Yay, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Yeah. Luisa, how about you? What's your biggest growth or aha since our last interview?
I have to say it's listening. I am actually starting to listen to myself. Inspiration, following that lead. I would have never trust that little voice in my head. So, that's been allowing me to open more space, to be more vulnerable within the group. I know that for a while in the beginning, I sat quiet, but I was getting a lot out of those calls. It was almost like the women that were part of that group were answering questions that were popping out of my head, and I didn't have to say a word. They were flowing. It was magical. It was excellent. Things that I needed to know. Those answers were all coming. But I believe it's because I had to be open and in a vulnerable position to actually listen and trust that. And from today's call, I too love that let go and go live. And that's the first thing I wrote today, because that makes complete sense.
Awesome. I love it. What would you say is your best manifestation over the last couple months?
The two $10,000 business grants that I got for free.
Yes, yay. And so update from last interview, we have to update our listeners. Right. Yeah, you got a second grant after, because you just gotten the grant on our last interview.
Yes. And then I did my income tax. I'm sitting at my accountant's office and he says, I got a great tax return of $600. Oh, and by the way, Luisa, you'll be getting another $10,000 grant probably in the next couple of weeks. And boom, there it was.
Yay, that's amazing. I love it. Fabulous. Kate, I know you've manifested all these new clients. Any other amazing manifestations that have happened over the last 60 to 90 days?
At more personal level, just as I applied for the program, I went into hospital with a small stroke, which was a lovely surprise. All of that came to me covered by Medicare and my private health. I was expecting to pay a lot more money, and I have zero to pay.
Yay!
And
that's
I just
amazing.
was blown away by that. Yeah, so waiting for that letter to come through with the amount on it, and it said zero. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. Yay. Yeah. Fabulous.
That was $1,400. So that was a huge amount to receive and be grateful to receive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you also received in that experience sort of a whole new way of living that ties in with being here, right?
Absolutely. And as much as I didn't want it to happen, perfect timing. Absolutely, with everything that's changed and being able to put the time into doing it as well, and that being accepted and honoured by my family and me. Definitely, I have actually honoured that, and I'm not saying, oh, I'll take the time, but then I'll go and do everything else on the side. Yeah, it's actually taking the time to put me in first, so I am cup full for everyone else around me.
Yay, that's awesome! Such a big lesson. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nicole, how about you? What's an awesome manifestation you've had?
Well, it's more of a funny one that I just love that stuff can just happen is my boyfriend and I ordered takeout from a restaurant we order from all the time, and we opened the bag and I'm pulling out the food And all of a sudden I pulled out this pasta and I looked at him, I was like, did you order this? And he was like, no. And so we realized that we got like somebody else's order, but it was some really delicious seafood pasta. And there was like lump crab and giant shrimp, and it was free. So like that was a lovely little quick manifestation. And then also just, again, being an actor, and you're always waiting for the next step to that job. And so I manifested an audition and got a call back for it. I didn't end up getting the job, but I didn't care because I was so happy to have manifested the audition process in the first place. So that was one of my big ones for the year. Yeah.
Yay, that's awesome. And great evidence for more auditions and
evidence
bookings.
For more, yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Awesome. Leslie, how about you? What's your favorite manifestation so far? And it could be the kombucha. I forgot you shared that earlier.
Yeah. Well,
you also had some chiropractic just show up, right?
Right. Yeah. My chiropractor, he, sometimes when you go to him, he doesn't do an adjustment. He'll check you and he's like, oh no, you're fine. and then you're like, oh man. And he would charge $40 for that. So I went one of these days and I was like, I kind of like, as I went to the appointment, I was like, oh, I should have canceled. I don't think I need an adjustment today. And I got there and he didn't want to adjust me. And then he was like, this one's on me.
Yay. And for you, you really know that you were like, I manifested this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I think so far I'm still feeling iffy about, oh, did I manifest that or did I not manifest it? And so the kombucha and the free chiro was definitely like manifested, and now I know what that is. Yes. So I'm waiting for more.
Yay. Awesome. It's totally coming. Carrie, how about you? What's an awesome manifestation that you've had?
This just happened like last week, but every time I go like to check the mailbox is way down the street. I hate going to check the mail, but since I started this program, I'm like, I love checking the mail because there's money I know there's going to be money in my mailbox. And then finally last week, I opened the mailbox and there was a check for $383, a COVID refund from my car insurance, which I totally wasn't expecting. People were posting their checks on Facebook saying, look, I got $1. And I was like, oh, I got $383.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the check was in there.
Yes. And you got 383% more than most people. Yes. Yay. I love that. Leslie also got that rebate, which is awesome. I love it. Shauna, how about you? What's a very awesome manifestation that you've had?
Well, there's of course my purse from earlier this year that I love. But one of the coolest ones was we were on a call, a couple months ago and everybody was talking about travel and travel points and free tickets. And so with Inspired Action, I just thought, okay, well, let me check my Delta Sky Miles. And I checked it while we were on the call. And I had 2 Delta credits that I didn't even know about. And they totaled to $388.40. So that was an awesome manifestation because I bought a plane ticket recently, used it to go see my best friend in Charleston, South Carolina, and visit my goddaughter. So that was Inspired Action, and then just manifested this money for a ticket too. So it was awesome.
Yay, that is awesome. I love it. Very cool. Anyone have an aha, some coaching that clicked, anything that they want to make sure we share today? Leslie?
Well, I think it was maybe even 2 or 3 weeks of coaching on calls that helped me with finding a new lawyer.
Yes.
And like when I look back on that, it was just like, it was so intense. I didn't, at that time, I didn't quite know everything about what we were doing. I mean, I still don't know everything, but I didn't I wasn't like fully on board, I think, with how we're working. And but in the end of the day, it was like this, the chain of events that happened was just so amazing. So like first my lawyer quit on me, and then I got a referral to someone who I was looking at other lawyers, and I'm like, but I think I want that one who I got the referral. And then that person bailed on me and gave me another referral. And then that person who I got referred to again, when I finally connected with her, I found out that, there was a lot of synergy, and she really understood how I want to approach my case from going forward, which I've totally changed my attitude about what I'm doing in my legal process. And I'm kind of taking more of a let's work it out approach, as opposed to let me fight you in court, but I don't have money to fight you in court with. And so now, and then it turns out that she knows my ex's lawyer and knows how to engage with her, like has, been on other cases with her and kind of knows what to expect and knows what her moves are going to be and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I had also sourced a divorce coach, and this lawyer also knew and endorsed the divorce coach. And so like all of this just came together in this way. And through all of it, like Cassie was coaching me on, we created a deadline. There had to be, because I had something coming up and we had to have a deadline. So we created this, okay, I have until this day to decide. And inside of that, it freed me up. I didn't have to make a choice. I didn't have to figure it out. I didn't have to shell out money to do interviews with several lawyers. I could just, once I had the one interview, I kind of knew like this is going to be my lawyer. And so it was so hard for me to like trust in law of attraction through all of that. I was like learning how to do it. And in the end of the day, it worked for me, and it worked out so well. So that was like super profound.
Yes. Yay. It did work. You got the lesson, the crash course on a very big thing. And so great job trusting the process. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yay. Thank you for sharing. Nicole?
This is from our call today. I had a little aha about how to step into my money goddess persona. And one of the things I was thinking about was, okay, how do I dress? And I was literally going through my closet, and I actually put it on because it was making me feel empowered.
Yay!
And this particular, the woman who owns this company, her whole philosophy is about making clothes that make women feel empowered. And it's all made in the US. And she's all about like, just every woman should feel her best self, and so I literally just I just opened the closet, and it was the first thing I saw, and I put it on, and I was like, I already feel empowered just by thinking about what she would wear, because I've spent the last year in my COVID clothes. And and now I'm like, you know what, we're still going through it, but I don't have to dress like that. I can dress like I am going to be dressing when in the new normal,
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that is, I'm trying to say, like, what's the difference between, that is a real thing that has that immediate feeling and a beingness of her, right? Mm-hmm. Versus this list that you sort of came with yesterday of things almost to try and do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I just did it instead of I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
it.
So
thank you for that coaching today. Yeah.
You are my pleasure. I'm so glad we got to share that happened right away. Mm-hmm. Fabulous. Luisa?
I think for myself personally, I've been really enjoying how Cassie slows us down and makes us feel what we're going through. And that's something really different for a lot of women. We're independent, we're tough, we're strong, we don't need to cry. And for myself personally, that's really helped my growth, because I rather keep busy, do something, keep my mind off of it, and avoid those feelings. So it's really helped me to heal. And I see other women healing and getting empowered and changing, because you make us slow down, feel those feelings, and then come back.
Yes. Yay. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Chana?
I would say definitely, yes, the slowing down, but also a big aha for me and with your coaching was the forgiveness assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's been the jumping off point for this whole, like, I don't need to fix things and just being that person.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could remember exactly what you said to me, but it was like, am I forgiving myself for the actual like act, or am I forgiving myself for kind of being so hard on myself?
Yes.
For doing whatever X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had realized, like, in a different conversation, that I'd said to somebody, like, I want to learn how to be nicer to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to stop being so mean. And to me, I was like, well, just be nice to yourself, right? Like,
right.
just be forgiving and give yourself grace and love yourself unconditionally. And that was a big shift. That was a big aha, especially like in the whole forgiveness assignment. Cause I had a little block with that. Cause it was like, I was almost what I thought was me forgiving myself. I was still in a way, like, being really harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like still feeling like I didn't deserve the forgiveness. Like, I still had a lesson to learn, but it was like, no, that's done. Be nice, forgive yourself, and move on. So that was huge.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think so many people get caught in that. If I punish myself longer, or, somehow it's going to make it better, and it never does. So thank you for sharing that. Carrie, did you have one?
Hang on. There we go. I couldn't unmute myself for some reason. Yeah, the most important thing that you commented on one of my assignments was, I was talking about how I had been feeling very uninspired and just kind of blah. And you said to just show up and you start to feel better. And I've just been remembering that all the time, and it helps so much.
Yay, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think, again, what I saw in that answer from you is what I see sort of in this general, whether it gets taught or it's how people interpret, doing the law of attraction, like, oh, I can only show up when I'm inspired, or it won't work, or have to feel perfectly good enough to come do the work. And no, when we come do the work, we almost generally always feel better. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Kate?
I totally relate to that, Carrie. Mine has been actually with the past expenditure. So knowing that it's on my 10,000 list over the years, just you always look at the debt. Okay, oh, I owe this, and just being able to shift the energy into what would I do with that monthly payment, or whatever payment you're putting it to, and really get into the energy of that. That's been really powerful, because I've let that debt, or I call it past expenditure, rule me.
Yes.
And because, I did it again, they're going to blame me for that. It's like, no, it's happened. It's past. What are we going to do moving forward? And that's been a really good exercise, not just with what's on my list, but just around me in my house, knowing that I would like a different house, but just being in the energy, it is the house I want. Just loving the house of being here and nurturing me, and and not always getting upset at it. And sorry, house.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, that goes into other areas too, is, what do I really want with that? What would I do with that once that's passed? And thank you with the coaching you've given me on that through the comments and coming back to me and being very patient with me.
Of course. It's it's easy to be patient because I get it. We're trained in that so long. I mean, all of the words we get about money are really, and this kind of goes to Chana's forgiveness thing too. It's like, oh, if you just punish yourself or you feel bad about this being there, like, somehow it's going to make it go away faster. And it does not make it go away faster.
No. Compounds.
Right. It compounds because then you start to never see the end of it because it's the only thing there. But when we really open up, like, what are you going to do when it's not there? That's who we want to become, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Helping me inject fun.
Yes. Yay. I love it. Money is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
Fabulous. Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you, amazing women, for showing up and sharing your journeys and inspiring by showing how you've healed and grown and created more than $70,000. So remember, those of you listening to this interview, we talked about it last time, but these amazing women have manifested more than $70,000 in less than 5 months. Some of them only 1 or 2 months. So just know that you get to be in that energy and be with us today, and come back next time when I'm going to answer some of their questions.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.